have finished an art journal that I've been doing for at least 5 years. So grab a cup of tea or a coffee or whatever beverage you like, because I'm going to take a bit of time with this today and I'm going to explain a bit about the pages without hopefully going into too much of a tangent. I filmed a video where I showed or I explained the process of how I did this. So as you can see, this is a picture that a photo I laminated, and then here is glitter glue in a glue gun, so glitter glue gun, and then all these gems. I think I got like a bunch from eBay, and I put them all around, and I love the look and the feel of them. The spine broke because I mistakenly put them on the spine, and I've covered it with black duct tape. I love this journal, I love the look of it. The only downside is that it is heavy, so I'm unable to take it anywhere with me now. Here we go, let's open the journal. So these back pages, I just put pictures whenever. So I wanted to have like an introduction page and an ending page. So I just put these photos here that were kind of like yoga related, and I put words like open and introducing. And there's a Polaroid of me when I was pregnant a long time ago. Before baby came along, I had time and the tools and everything like that to journal a bit like the artist who does Draw Your Day. And I just really enjoyed, like you can tell I was drinking golden milk, Tav, my husband, was around, watching Ali Wong, comedian, and reading Get Rich Lucky Bitch. So I really incorporated things I was doing, and I also liked the layout where you write the date. So I continued doing this. I used a bit of collage. I really like this collage. It's very simple. It's all about how we reinvent Christmas, which I think we do. As we get older, it changes. And then these are quotes. I made loads of malas. When I was on maternity leave, I got really bored. I loved A Star Is Born. I think this was like part of a life drawing class, potentially, yeah. And things like drawing my nephew's wellies. Like, that might sound silly, but back then he would have been about 4 years old, and now he's 7. So when I look back on it, it's just like really sweet that I include it. Sometimes I include little cards from people. I like that Dolly Parton quote, "Figure out who you are and do it on purpose." Sometimes I included like what we ate and where I sat. So what I tended to do, as you'll see, is things change throughout here, but this page I used, the left side I used as collage and the right side I used as drawing. These were some like crazy dreams I had when I was pregnant. Like, there's nothing like pregnancy dreams. And I just put how much I was resting, and I was just really interested in the baby's movements and stuff like that. That's when I was drawing myself while I had my nails painted because I couldn't see over my tummy. And yeah, this is my nephew. Looks nothing like him, but again, it's like a memory because he's 3 3/4 and he's older now. And we were building new furniture before the baby came. And I love this picture of her just running into the lake. And I love that quote, "When the ocean surges, don't let me just hear it, let it splash inside my chest." This is when I went to, could have been the Shard, or it could have been another place in London which is high up. I can't remember at the moment what's called. Sky Garden. It could have been that. Sometimes I get a bit blocked when I go out places and I try and draw the thing, and then I'm thinking, oh, this isn't really what I wanted to draw. So I had a go at it. Yep, this was just like a pattern page. I really like custard donuts, so I did them. Yeah, this is another idea of patterns. So I think I got the idea from somewhere, maybe a book, to like make them into people. This drawing I really like, although it's not perfect or anything. It's just nice doing another girl, because I have phases where I can't or don't feel like drawing girls, and I really like drawing them. It was when my friend had a baby and I was overdue, so I still had time on my hands, but I was like really not feeling it, like, because I was really overdue. This was like a, like an affirmation card. This looks a bit dodgy, but it says Sheila Nig, and I was reading about in a book about it being a symbol to reassure women on the capabilities of their bodies during birth. So it's an ancient symbol that you might find on a building or a church or something. Yeah, that's another heart. And as you can see, like, my art became about vaginas because I was waiting to give birth. But again, I think it's another fun collage. This was a quote about the spring, and this was two incredible midwives that I read about in Ina May Gaskin's book. So there's Ina May Gaskin, and this is Margaret Charles Smith, and the prayer of Margaret Charles Smith was, "Dear Lord, make us grateful for whatever it is we are about to receive." And I really like that, because it's so, it feels so obvious, but it can actually be uncertain, like, to what is going to happen in the process. Like, it's called a birth plan, but nothing goes to plan. Okay, so what I'll say with this journal as well, so about up to here, everything is coherent. And then I get to these pages and my life changes, baby comes along, and it says here, where has the creativity gone? Because I really struggled, like, to get back into things, because I couldn't just pick up a pen and pencil wherever I wanted. I was on a completely different schedule, and I wasn't the number one priority. It was baby and me. So I like this because it was just a blank page, and I put her on it. I liked her image, and then I like the three pairs to like show that there was three of us, and I kept it kind of like black and white. And these were the things that I wanted to do, like when you make time for yourself, so walk, yoga, meditate, that kind of thing. I really like this image because I love swimming and I love making, so that's why I chose those two. I did this drawing challenge when our daughter was little. As you can see, it's another one of those memory ones, because this is a continuous line drawing, and she's only 6 months old, and this was her bouncer. So this was blind drawing, continuous line drawing, doodling, eraser, where you draw with the eraser, finger painting, lines with ink, and that was my salt lamp. Cross hatching, my husband actually drew this one, and I drew one of these, and this was impressing, so I pressed it on, and that you can see the outline of her sleeping. This was just like a painted page, where we have leftover paint. This was my Christmas, like my other Christmas page. As you can tell, I think the Christmas spirit's kind of got to me. I'm like taking a little bit with all the balls. Yeah, and these were like Christmas presents. This is a really boring page, and I could have covered it in collage, but I liked it because it said, like, it's 2020, I'm 30, little one will turn 1 this year. And back then I did like word of the year, and my word was authentic, but again, I no longer do a word of the year because I just don't think it actually helped me as much as it did. I stuck this image in because it's only one image, but I just love how the photographer captured the green and then the building. I think that's beautiful. And then I did one about seeing the positives in your week. And this was at a Sikh camp. I did just this bit on the page, and then later I came and added the flower vases, because I really came to like flowers in vases. This is when I went to Docklands, and this is interesting because this was the last time before COVID hit, and we had no idea, and it was the 10th of February, and there was like a storm on, and I remember got her little bus, and it was just one of those times where I could just kind of, once again, I could kind of draw things that were going on, and it's just such a nice memory page as well, because as we know, everything changed. My little one's 10 months old, and my godmother died after this as well, and that was the last time we saw her. I think this was another one where I included a quote and some things I've been doing. I really like how I was quite careful here. It's hard for me to be very careful. I'm trying to work on this. Sometimes when I'm on my monthly cycle, I like to include things I've done to help myself. Just in a self-love perspective. I used to do Gutka way before, and I found it really fun. So that was my uniform. I was really happy to get my uniform. And I remember I was at the station and I had some time, so I had a green tea in the cafe and then did some drawing. But again, I was kind of self-conscious of this, and I was really not sure what I was drawing. I was in that kind of space, and I went to a Seeky in the Arts thing in London as well, which was quite interesting. It was memorable, definitely memorable, and I ended up drawing the back of people's heads in the crowd. This was at the Seeky camp. I wrote down some of the shubbeds and things that were said, and then later I came back and added more flowers. Oh, this was another time actually just before COVID, because this is the 12th of March and I went down the trains. I remember I took a picture. It's not exactly as the picture, but I've coloured it in grey and blue from what I can remember of it. Because it was just such a long tunnel, and that picture on my phone, it was like, wow, that's the last time I'm going to use the train for a few months or a year or 2 years. We made like a Oreo pie, and I took a picture of our little one getting her clothes out, because when children are little they can just empty the cupboards, and it's so frustrating but it's so funny at the same time. This page just simply had this on it, and I was a bit it didn't feel like it needed more things. So I included some printout photos. I wouldn't normally do printout photos, but I was like, I need to wrap this book up and move on. So my friend knitted us some socks. My little one started crawling on the grass, and I had my Polaroid camera, and I really like using that camera. This was a collage. I quite like how I've added her on there. Sometimes I try and do simplicity collage, I keep it simple. And I had a thing on boundaries, because throughout the last, I'd say 3 years, I've definitely learned where my boundaries are and what they are and things like that. So I'm always learning about boundaries. I love this quote, and I've just plonked it here because I was trying to do this kind of effect with watercolour and I think masking fluid or tape or something. It didn't quite work. So it's every life is a piece of art put together with all means available, by Pierre Janet, a psychiatrist, and I like this beach picture. This one I found quite cool to do because I really liked that image, and I liked how everything was dark. And this was when I was just reminiscing about how it started to get into winter. And I really like this page as well. It's really bubbly. That's why I'm trying not to do so much collage in my books. I'm going to do them on paper. All you need is less. And this one I really liked because I had a lot of feelings when I lived with my mother-in-law and my in-laws, and I just didn't know where to put them, and there wasn't really an outlet because I was a busy new mum. And I think this page encapsulates it perfectly, because there's 2 people living in houses, and it's just about trusting the process. This one I really like too. I really like how I've put this in her hand and in the phone, and it's feel connected, but it's broken, because I feel a lot of time we do sometimes feel connected through tech, but I think we feel disconnected at the same time. So that really emphasised that. This is one of those pages where I scribble when I'm annoyed, and I'm just enough. So there you go. I really like this collage, but I wish I wasn't focusing on collage art at all when I did this. I was just I just wanted to get stuff down. So I really like how I've done this. I wish it was more like a glass, and then these things were busting out of the top, her glass was too full. That's how I felt. This was my 2021 spread, so I like doing these in the year so that I know which year I'm on. I included like a core, and that was like a funny self-portrait I thought I'd include. I just really liked how this woman looked. So here is COVID, as you can see. I think I'll just say it very briefly. COVID did not go well for me very well. I was not living my best life in COVID. So obviously I became a full-time stay-at-home mum, and I was living away from my hometown, and I was trying to get work, and it was impossible to get work because I work with people. So I had to like just wait it out and manage, and financially manage too. So I did get some things, like we were able to, because it was quiet, we were able to get like a new car, like because that was in the plans anyway. And it's just some things I bought really. These don't seem like that relevant right now or anymore, like, but I think it's still good to show them. But I think memories are more like, what do you call it? Memories are more relevant to me to show. These were some like self-care things I was doing. So Pilates with Joe, I still do that. Pilates with Joe Tuffrey, Epsom salts, and it's kind of like a reminder. So if I needed to look back in my journal and think, well, what self-care can I do? I would like look here and I'd be like, oh, I can read a book, or I can do some Pilates, that kind of thing. And also doing something different at weekends was a huge in COVID, because often it felt like the same day was like, every day was the same. So it felt good to do something different at weekends, even if it was like pancakes or not go on my iPad. I like this page a lot because it's like kind of busy but good at the same time. So I included like that I'm a Scorpio, and so was Georgia O'Keeffe, the artist. I also must have drawn around my cup. Yes, I did. And it was one time where I really could identify where I didn't feel at home. And I had to be honest, because when people ask, how are you? And you say, I'm fine, I'm good. But no one really asks you, do you feel home? Like, where is your home? And I was just like, it's not here. Like, and I had to be honest, and also I had to follow that calling. So this was when I came away from, I did Kundalini yoga for some time, and I wore white a lot after doing yoga training. And I came away from it all, and I decided to wear more purple. So I was just showing my purple head covering, purple top, purple slippers. And I was also working, but I was like very sleep deprived and working at the same time. So I had to juggle a different way of working. And this was actually, I did these before college, and it was kind of like a brain dump and also drawing. And I think it's when things were changing, but I was also burning out. I didn't realise how much I was burning out from a job. This was a funny self-portrait I did of myself. It didn't quite work. And I even wrote like this is a portrait as wonky, because I was drawing my glasses. And then this is drawing my best friend, who was using her prayer book at the time. This was our little one's birthday, and I did some Polaroids, but they didn't come out, but I kind of got her cake, and I wrote some notes about why it went wrong, and then I tried to draw an image of her on her birthday. This page was just gesso, and then I included like be home and then some cool imagery, and thankfully I found these flowers that match the ribbon. This was like, you know, like using old like junk things, and you want to keep them, so I kept the envelope. This was from a plastic bag, a big kunda, and then I included all these from the book that Maria Rivans the collage book that she created. This was drawing practice. This is what I want to get back to, and I'm going to in my A4 journal soon. And I wanted to keep this in here because it's just nice. Although it's pencil, it's good to see progress and how I've been doing it. And this was a portrait. I don't think it came out exactly how I wanted, because the image that I copied had her mouth open, and ideally I would have wanted to draw it with her mouth closed. I think had I done that, I may have done that again with her mouth closed. But the book Premka was a real big life changer for me. And I wanted to do a portrait, try out my portrait pens, like with all the different nude shades, and then do some flowers around it. So although I know it's not the best portrait and everything like that, at the time it was a victory. And I wanted to do something to remember. And also I wanted to include lots of black and lots of colour, because like I said, when I was in Kundalini Yoga, white was like the only choice. I had someone I worked with DMD, and he died at 21, so I wanted to, sometimes I do like a grief page, and I do like a brain dump, and then I do some things that remind me of him, like tea, coffee, sugar jars, and the big wheels and dandelions. This was just an end of year page, and I included like pink things. This is a really fun spread. I'm glad I have this one in here. I left this page blank because I think it suits not having loads of colour, because it's already a collage, and this was from one of our wedding cards. This was one of our engagement shoots. This is a photo, so some of these pages have photos in, some have scanned. This is a photo, and we found a little frog on the day. This is a bigger frog. We found a little baby frog. I really like this woman's dress, and I just included it. I wanted to include a black background. I could have done more here, but I'm happy. This was when I was doing a draw your day thing again, because I wanted to include like a TV show I was watching, and the ball pool, and the farm we went to, the paddling pool. All of those things like really make me happy looking back on them. This is just a painted page. This was when I was a student in my first year of college. This was my little one's scribbles. I could have gone over it, but I like the pink and green and purple. And I remember when she found my journal, like, aha, I can draw in here. This was another grieving page. But I think I was already a bit burnt out here. And this was when I tried to include, sometimes I tried to include flowers in my pages, but it never quite works out. I haven't learned how to like use resin and stuff. So I just added glitter on top of the page with the gurus. That was part of the picture in a frame, and then the frame was stored away, and I thought, no, I'm going to use the picture of something. This was another Polaroid. Sometimes I get an extra copy. I think she's blinking, and I thought I'll use this as my journal. And this is like a birthday spread page, and like I said, I use the painted pages of things and sometimes birthday cards, and sometimes I like making flaps, and so it says on this day, and it shows what I did on this day, because often when you're turning a number, this is 32, when you think back, you don't remember all the little things you did. You might remember like, oh, I wore that dress, or oh, we went out to eat here. But you don't remember like things you danced to and stuff. This is from an old book I was doing on drawing things, and this was drawing a hummingbird. And I didn't like cut it out properly. I could have cut these looking back at it, but I did some diamonds here and a black background, and I wanted to incorporate them. Because I remember at the time I was fascinated with their skeletal system, because it's so delicate. This one I really liked as a collage, but I don't think it kind of worked out completely. So it was cool because I had like a robot on a heart and a big guy with saying go. And then this woman is in like envelope. And I just like using the envelopes, but the flowers didn't quite work. But I tried something. Got to try stuff. This was from a t-shirt my little one had. I really like the quote on it. Again, I didn't sew it on properly at all, but I wanted to include it, and I remember we did some art, and then I've included the shapes from the art. This was another collage. I used a sweet packet, and I did things around it, and I actually recently added the blue and the green, and I'm a lot happier with it now. I wanted it to kind of tell a story. I think it does. This is another grief page. I've got a picture of us in here. I wanted to keep it hidden because at the time I worked in like a healthcare setting, and like we were all kind of like friends and things like that, so we took pictures, but I've just kept it hidden because it's like, I don't know, it just seems right to do that. So yeah, I've written a big brain dump, and this is when I was making a big change in life. We were moving areas completely. So I did a Glenn and Dore quote, and then I did the AA quote, because me and my dad were talking about it a lot, and I told him I'm gonna have courage to change something, and he was like, oh, you're not gonna accept. And I was like, nope, I'm gonna have the courage to change things. There's a song, I think it's Lana Del Rey, and she sings like "Love You Lots" like polka dots, and I did that with me and my daughter. I put them in there. Yeah, I was getting something down. This was collaging. This was like another one of those things I've drawn. So it's about going to counselling. I bought a dress. Got a haircut because my hair was very dry. I did need to get it cut, and it's much better. This page was completely different a few weeks ago. I didn't like it, so I put gesso all over it, and it was like one of those happy accidents things, because I've got these lovely colours and lovely prints from using this flower I had. So back then I was like taking pictures of things I like my meditation time and walking around, and I was doing Hannah's postcard swap at the time, or I did shortly after, so this is why I have a postcard in the middle. This page I really like, but I think I'd like to encapsulate it a different way, perhaps with like drawing a picture of someone screaming. I was really fascinated with the documentary on Nikki Graham, Who Is She? And how she had a screaming tree with her friend at the institution they were at. And I thought it was just really interesting, because I remember in my childhood I was quite anxious, and I would have loved to just screamed in a field. I often say that to my husband, even now. And I've written down all the things that make me scream, because I was like, why not? It's true, and that's what I want to write about today. And it's just normal things like technology, my patience, not feeling listened to, lack of sleep, not having time or energy to write or create anything. This one I just like the images of, and the flowers that wrap around. These are my mum's garden. I was watching Art Club with Grace and Perry. It's given me a lot of inspiration. This was a Queen's Jubilee page. I copied things out of magazines. This was about boobs. I was thinking about cosmetic surgery when I was in my second year of college, and then I went off it, but I still wrote about it. We went on holiday, and this was a lodge we stayed out at Salisbury. This was a collage page, and obviously I haven't saved £90,000, but it was like a cool thing, like to write down and give me motivation. I was like, yeah, I'm going to write that number down. So I really love this page. I worked at a school for visually impaired children and other things in their life. And I just wrote about, like, that was my drive to work, because I had loads of trees around me near the forest, and these were the canes that I was learning about, different types, and a brailler. This page I just really liked the building, and then I included some painting. So these were my last days at college, and again I put photos in there, but I don't really know if I like photos in my journal. They seem like a good thing at the time, and then they kind of like don't sit very well. So I wanted to put all my I was agency staff, and I got a visitor badge every day, and I wanted to include some of my visitor badges in the page. This one, I was getting a bit blocked what to do, but I really like this kind of cartoon, and I wanted to try this opaque black paint I have, and then a black paint, and I really prefer the black, but I wanted to see if you can see it shines. I just wanted to see what it looked like. This is a nice collage page. It's just things that I like imagine like the outdoor shower with their hammock. And I really like pink houses. Pink houses are featured in quite a lot of magazines. This is a page, my Hugar page, and I did this bit at the start, and then it took me a while to actually get the things in there, but just before it started to get more spring-like, I added the things I was doing. So I was doing a sewing project, wearing thermals a lot, and reading a lot, and having lots of early nights in as part of like my winter routine. This was collage page. I was going through some not great family issues, so I included the scream person and like black and white. I always think black and white just is so crisp and yeah, good. And then I was changing my college course, and I wanted to just write down how I felt before everyone else was giving me their opinions, and any other doubts creeped in. I wanted to write about it. Again, some more family issues came up, and I did like a brain dump, but I didn't really want to see the whole of what I'd written, so I included like an image and some other images around it. I was going to London and I haven't got a new journal yet, so I was using scraps of paper, and I really like drawing what outfits people have on the trains. We're nearly coming to the end. Okay, so this page has got lots of brown and black, and I didn't mean to, but I sometimes write what our daughter says, and she's like, because it changes all the time, so chocolate bread, and like what I'm saying, well done trying on the toilet, because we were having like quite big issues. And I started doing self-portrait Sunday, where I just go out and take a picture of myself. And yeah, just other things like how she says mummy, went to the cafe, having some food. So this page is about a missing person, which you'll recognise if you're from the UK, you'll recognise it from what I've drawn. I did it because it was just on my mind a lot. I was in the media a lot and I kept searching it. And after this page I stopped like looking at it all the time, because I just thought it's not healthy for me to keep doing that. And I wrote some other missing people, just people that were kind of brought up in conversation and that I'd known about in my lifetime. Yeah, so I'm not doing it in any horrible way at all. I've seen like a documentary on missing people, and I know there was an art installation in London once, missing people, so I know it's a very serious topic. And yeah, I just wanted to give it a moment. This was a house, because I was doing, every time I put a chunk of money in our house savings, I would draw a house. And this is the first time I've done it, because I only just come up with that idea, and I don't know if I'm going to roll with that idea. But yeah, I tried to do salt painting. It didn't really work so well on this paper. And I think if I don't draw a house and it like have some structure to it, it's just going to look like a 5-year-old do it. So there you go. I tried. This was around Valentine's Day. I wanted to keep it like not with like loads of red love hearts. I loved this title about cuddling a cow on Valentine's Day, and then I just found like these two birds, and yeah, I just kept it like writing about Valentine's Day, how we didn't really do it. This is a fun page. I look at it now and I'm like, all the colours are crazy, but it's kind of one of those pages that makes you think, oh, this is what we did in the half term. Because I want to look back at it and like remember all the things we do, because often we like have these holiday breaks and like we're at home. But if you look at all the things, like we played with dolls, watched Bluey and Barbie made a cake, tried on some dresses, went to Wendy's, did parachute, I went to a museum, and then we went to the park and the library and charity shop, and I watched a film. And so even though I think when someone asks you, what did you do? And you just go, oh yeah, we had fun. Or you think, oh, I didn't really do anything. Like, I did. Look at all these things I did, that we did. This was some painting on fabric. I was just using up scraps of paint, and I just thought I'd include it in here. Ideally, if I wasn't on a deadline to finish this book, I would have done like stitching and stuff like that. And I am doing some stitching on some other material at the moment. This was just an interior designs page. I really like how I've put this all together, and it's smooth as well. I think that shows my skill is getting better. I just really like the sofa and the chairs here, yeah. This is like an envelope, it's the wrong way around, but I like keeping things open in case I put things inside it usually. So I was watching Make It and Mark It, and it's like 15 episodes, and I watched all of them while I was sewing throughout different months. And the idea of it is people to make business from what they create, and there's like a volume piece, a high-end piece, and a favourite piece. And I wanted to write them down because it gave me kind of a motivation to have more of a goal set for myself. So this was some winter wreath, and we did some collage one of the days because there was nothing to do, and I made like a concertina book, and so did my nephew and our little one. And this was like a winter collage. I finally used this vintage image I had, and these are like the little teddy bears. Again, I tried to keep it like less like in your face Christmas and more like winter. And this was like the introduction page, but the ending page, and it was like things from cards. Like these are from cards that come through the post when you order stuff. This was a shop, I think, and like thank you cards. And again, some more things from books that I got rid of, and then I kept the pages that I liked. I really like this badge. This is quite cool. And they're just like, thank yous, thank yous. And this was a Christmas card that was made by some friends and family, and another card I really like the print of. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed my journal.